Welcome to the Entrepreneur Spotlight. Our featured small business today is Kaiso Entertainment, owned by Ineke Hodge, better known as Nika Nix on Facebook. How are you?
Hi, Cusa. Thank you for having me today.
Well, it's a pleasure having you today. It's been a long time and a long journey. So tell me about yourself.
So, as you know, 8 years ago, I was introduced to the EDA, and I started learning about, business and how to begin the road to entrepreneurship. And here we are 8 years later. I actually am using a lot of the information that I learned, and I now own Kaiso Caribbean Entertainment Group, and I'm trying to be a positive influence on our young community as well as our entertainment community, and upselling St. Croix for the betterment of the U.S. Virgin Islands.
So tell me, what is Kaiso Caribbean Entertainment?
Kaiso Caribbean Entertainment Group is a booking agency that allows local acts and talents to not just showcase themselves and do so without having to necessarily go through the tedious process of becoming licensed. They're covered under the entity, and also we do a lot of training, and we're also seriously involved in a lot of the community aspects of things in terms of volunteer work, social uplifting, dealing with social issues and discussing those things, as well as learning a lot more about our culture, which is a huge part of the curriculum, and building a lot of confidence in our young generation so that they too can upsell the territory, because wherever we go, we are a vast people that tend to exodus a lot. Right. We travel a lot. After high school, that's typically the norm for us to leave and venture into other things. So when they leave, the goal is for them to have something that they can take with them anywhere in the world, and they're able to feed themselves, because let's be real, entertainment is economy proof. The harder things get, the more people want something to look forward to that bring them joy. And as such, they leave with a set of skills that they can use anywhere in the world and take care of themselves the way that I took care of myself.
Absolutely. So you're giving them that Virgin Islands pride that they can spread all over the world, and everybody can know exactly who we are and what we're about. So tell me, how did you come up with the name Kaiso Caribbean Entertainment?
So when they mentioned it to me and told me to kind of revisit the idea of the name, I started to do some research about our culture and find words that started with K, because I wanted to keep my K, and things that relate to our culture. And as such, I remembered the word calypso. I was thinking to go with calypso with the letter K. And I said, no, calypso is actually derived from the word Kaiso. And Kaiso is deeply rooted in our culture. It goes as far back as our slave days. And believe it or not, Kaiso is a word that the slaves used to use to encourage each other and cheer each other on through dance. And Kaiso is actually a form of music that they use to speak about tales of their masters. So it's very rooted in our culture. And if you go on Google, it actually mentions the Virgin Islands in the understanding of the word Kaiso and where it's derived from.
Interesting.
Yes.
History lesson and all.
Hey.
I love it. So now tell me, now you're in the process of opening your store,
Yes.
your actual storefront for Kaiso Caribbean Entertainment. So tell me, what will all be there at the new store?
So it's very exciting because it's not just a store. We will be selling some merch like our Kaiso shirts, as well as other items pertaining to entertainment. But it's a creative space. That's where we'll be practicing. That's our home, that's our hub, that's our base. It's where we're gonna be perfecting our crafts, but also it's open to other creatives as well. One thing that I've noticed in working with my brothers, both June and Red, in entertainment and doing marketing and promotions, is that we don't have a lot of resources for artists to be able to practice their craft as it pertains to performance. We have a lot of mediums and resources for recording. We have a lot of resources for making the content. We even have Soundstage. Shout out to Soundstage, because that's a great necessity here in our community right now.
Filled a void.
Yes, they have filled a huge void. And as such, this creative space has mirrors. It has everything that would kind of replicate a live performance, so that you can actually practice before you're in a position where you have to perform live, and you can see yourself, tweak it, work with your teams, and kind of build who you are as a performer. Because it's one thing to be a recording artist, it's an entirely different thing to be a performing artist and getting, booked to do things in different places. So if we're gonna upsell the place, meaning the Virgin Islands as a territory, let's do it right. Let's do it properly. And the first thing we need to do is create those resources. So I'm hoping that in filling a need that I have with my performers and my entertainers, I'm able to fill a void for others as well.
Okay. And so as we come to the close of this interview, tell me, what would be your advice to our young people or anyone who wants to get into entrepreneurship here within the territory? What would be your #1 advice to them?
It's always going to be think outside the box, because we tend to follow trends. We see something working for someone else and we tend to be like, okay, well, I can do that too. But there's so many different things that we need to fill here in the Virgin Islands. I often, make posts about ideas and things that we can do to really develop the place. It's ours. We tend to sit back and say, oh, the government should this and the government should that. But the people are so much stronger than just a few that are part of a government entity. I feel like if we put our minds together and our communities together and we fill the voids in our hearts, we're able to really develop the place, create opportunities, do things outside of the box. And as such, I've seen a few that are doing so. We have, water parks and different things to really fill some of the necessities that we need. But there's so much more to go, and this is just the beginning, but ripples make waves. So my advice would be follow your heart, think outside the box, and definitely be true to self, be true to your community, and have fun doing it. If it's not fun, it's always work.
Absolutely. So Ineke, thank you so much for being with us today and telling us your story all about your company.
Thank you for having me. And as a token of my appreciation, I'd like to present you with this t-shirt.
Thank you. Thank you so much. We really appreciate it.
And I appreciate what the EDA does for all our small businesses in our community.
Thank you so much. We try our best. For the Entrepreneur Spotlight, thank you so much for joining us today.